would like to begin by asking you all a question you've probably heard very often. What would you do if you won the lottery tomorrow? And if you would like to participate, please type your answers in the chat. So I see someone said save it, video games, spend it or save it, put it in a savings account, spend it, save it, put it in stocks, buy a car, save and invest it. Ooh, so I see a lot of y'all know what to do with the money, but save it and spend half and half, save most, donate it to charity, and then spend the rest. Stocks, okay. Maybe help my parents with stuff. Okay, give it to a pet shelter. Yeah, these are all really good ideas of how to spend the money. And I know that some people may probably spend the money shopping for clothes, buying new shoes, buying the latest technology, or maybe buying a new car. But let's be honest, are these options really realistic? I mean, if we were to spend all of our money on materialistic goods, we probably wouldn't be left with a lot of money to support ourselves in the future. So like a lot of y'all have mentioned, a better option would be to save the money rather than blow it all on items in the present. Money is a valuable tool and needs to be managed properly. It is impossible to know what may happen in the future, like we've seen with COVID this year, and when money will be the tool that gets a person out of a difficult situation. So the examples I just shared essentially break down what personal finance is. By definition, personal finance covers how a person effectively manages the money they make, and it is broken down into subtopics of how a person can manage their money. So here are a few subtopics I will be covering today. So we will be starting off by how to start and manage an effective budget, how to start a savings account and the different types, how to invest for your future, and the importance of credit in your credit history. So I think a great way to think of personal finance is like a river. Your income is the main river, but it will eventually split off into separate streams, which are these subtopics. So let's start off by discussing budgeting. This is probably the most applicable to our age right now, as we may be starting to make an income through an after-school job, or you may have an allowance. I want to introduce you to some popular budgeting plans and how they may be applicable to your future in college and beyond. So the two plans are called the 50-30-20 plan and the 70-15-15 plan. And depending on your personal circumstances, one might be a better option than the other, or you might end up making your own budget plan. So starting off, the 50-30-20 plan, 50% of your income goes to necessities, 20% goes to savings and investments, and 30% goes to wants and optional costs. In this plan, you have more money allocated to optional costs. So you do have the option to reward yourself with that Starbucks latte you may crave in the morning. In the 70-15-15 plan, you are splitting up your income in a way where you have a more strict spending plan. So 70% of your income goes to necessities, 15% goes to savings and investments, and the final 15% goes to wants and optional costs. You do not have as much money allocated to spend on extra things, such as going to restaurants or concerts, and that way you must be more careful and make sure that the majority of your income is going only to necessities. If you're a very detailed and organized person, this is the perfect plan for you. And additionally, if you're in a tight spot financially in the future, this is a good budget to follow. An additional note, if you are paying off debt in the future, such as student loan debt, be sure to include that portion of your income into the budget plan. And depending on how much you are setting aside each month, one may be a better option than the other. So let's look at some examples. Say you land a job where you make $100,000 a year. So the 50-30-20 plan is a great budget plan to follow, as you are making sure you are spending your money responsibly, but you still have the flexibility to spend your hard-earned money on things you enjoy. And even if you do not make $100,000 a year, but only $50,000, it's all about choices. If you are following this budget plan precisely, you can still have flexibility with your income, even if it may not be as much. But like I mentioned, if you are a very organized person, following the 70-15-15 plan is a great option. You are managing your money in a way which will allow you to have a stable future, and you can eventually transition into the 50-30-20 plan if you choose to. And I share these examples with you to emphasize that it's all about your choices. As long as you are responsible with your money and know what position you are in financially, you can follow any budget plan you choose regardless of your income. Now, it may be hard to visualize these budget plans in action, so I have made a sample monthly budget that will allow you to visualize how your budget may look in college and beyond. So in this spreadsheet, you are able to track your income, your expenses, daily spending, and review your finances as a whole each month. So this spreadsheet is a good way to visualize your budget, especially when it's time to manage your finances on your own. So starting off with the income table, as you can see, you are able to track where your income is coming from and plan how much you will be expecting to make each month and compare it to how much you actually make that month. And let's say this person makes a $50 bonus this month. They were able to track that difference both in this table and their monthly review table. Next, we have the daily spending table. This table allows you to track your spending each day as you organize it into categories such as food, home, transportation, etc. This is really helpful, especially if you're following the 70-15-15 plan, as you are able to make sure the majority of your income is going to necessities. This daily spending table actually flows into the expenses table, which allows you to plan how much you will spend each month and compare it to your daily spending. This table allows you to see how much of your income is going to each of the categories and is very helpful when you are using the percentages budget plan. So as you can see, this person overspent a bit more than they had planned, but they were able to visualize this difference, which will come in handy when they are adjusting their expenses plan next month. And finally, we have the monthly review table. This is here to make it easy to take a quick glance and see your month in review. You are able to visualize both in this table and in the graph how much of money is going out each month, how much of money is coming in each month, and you can compare those differences. This can help you decide whether you need to make some changes to your finances or if everything is going smoothly. So even though this person overspent a bit more than they had planned, their income this month was still able to cover that difference, and they were left with an additional $500 that month. If you are interested in making this type of budgeting spreadsheet, there are many templates on Excel and Google Sheets that you can customize to fit your lifestyle. So moving on, let's talk about savings. A savings account is a financial account that earns interest and is typically found in banks. By adding money into this account, you earn more money or interest from the bank or financial institution where your account is held. Anyone can open a savings account, even teenagers. You can collect your gift money, allowance, and paychecks and set goals for yourself and save up. For example, you can work towards buying a new car. And additionally, a savings account is very beneficial to have come an unpredictable situation like COVID. So next, I want to discuss some popular savings accounts you may have heard of. The emergency fund, college savings accounts, 401k plans, a certificate of deposit, and investment savings accounts. So starting off with emergency funds, this is one of the most crucial savings accounts in my opinion, as you never know what may happen in the future. In simple terms, an emergency fund is money you set aside or save in case of a financial emergency or situation. The earlier you start setting aside money in your emergency fund, the better, as you will have more options come the situation. Now, you may have also heard of a rainy day fund, and it is essentially an emergency fund, but with less savings in it, and it is more for smaller emergencies you may face. So next we have the college savings accounts. These accounts are typically held as 529 plans and allow you to pay for tuition, room and board, and other college fees. Talk to your parents if you would like to set up a college savings account if you do not have one already. Next, let's talk about the 401k plan. This is a very popular type of a retirement plan where one sets aside a portion of their salary into this account. This plan may also involve your employer, and they may match the amount you set aside in your account for a certain amount. So let's say your employer agrees to match 50 cents for every dollar you put into your 401k plan savings account. So if you put $100 into that account, your employer will put another $50 into your savings account. Next, we have the certificate of deposit. A certificate of deposit, or COD, is a type of savings account where you agree to not withdraw from the account in exchange for higher interest rates than a normal savings account. These can be used if you're in a position where you can set aside additional money you may not be able to spend in the future. But while this may not be possible for everyone, it's still a good option for some. The last type of savings account I want to cover is a savings account for your investments such as stocks and bonds. These accounts can be non-qualified, which means the money you may have to pay for taxes can still go into the savings account. While on the topic of investing, a simple definition of investing is spending money in a way where you will receive a profit and ultimately benefit. Now, this definition is very broad as there are many ways to invest your money. You can buy stocks, buy property or land, etc. Today, I will be introducing some specific investment options you may come across in the near future. Starting off with stocks. Buying stocks essentially means buying a portion of a company and sharing the gains or losses. One example of stocks that may be a good option when you just start to make an income is fractional shares, which is buying stocks for less money and is a more affordable option. Next, we have bonds. Bonds are a tool or statement that represents money invested or loaned. Bonds pay a fixed rate of return over a certain period of time. The last type of investment I want to cover is mutual funds. A mutual fund is a company or program that invests money from multiple people into stocks, bonds, etc. So think of it like pooling in the money and then investing it. One of the biggest benefits of mutual funds is that they eliminate the risk of investing individually. Other investments you may come across include Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, even mowing lawns or starting a business. Because you are spending time and money for your work, these are still investments and can be done at our age too. Additionally, if you're interested in beginning to invest now, I would recommend opening a custodial account. This account will allow you to invest under your parents and is a great way to begin your experience in the stock market. You can talk to your parents to open this type of account, or some other places you can open a custodial account is TD Ameritrade and Merrill Lynch. Finally, the last topic I will cover today is credit. Credit is the capability to buy things now, but pay for them later. Credit is very important as you need to make sure to not spend money you do not have. For example, credit cards allow you to borrow money from the bank, but pay it back later. But you need to make sure to pay credit cards down every month and keep your credit card balances low. Now, you may have also heard of debit cards. A debit card takes money directly from your bank account. So you should consider these differences when deciding what card you want to pay with. As you get older, you will build a credit profile. One way to start building credit and your credit history, especially when you're in college, is to get a student credit card. Using a student credit card will allow you to set up your credit profile, which will benefit you later when you buy a house or a car. A few student credit cards that you can choose from include Capital One's Journey student credit card and Bank of America's Cash Rewards credit card for students. These student credit cards offer various rewards from percent cash back on every purchase you make to additional credit for good grades. Let's move on to credit reports. Think of a credit report like a report card. Credit report is a statement that includes your history of payments and the amount owed on your credit accounts. Credit reports can be used to decide whether credit should be lent to you, similar to how a college looks at your grades to decide whether to accept you into their program. It is very important that you check your credit report annually and fix any information that seems incorrect to you immediately. Like I mentioned before, you can set up your profile and start your credit report as early as college so you are well prepared for when you enter the working world. I think the biggest point to remember about credit is to not spend money you do not have. It may be tempting to buy things now and put off actually paying for them later, but you need to be honest with yourself and your financial situation. Review your budget plan and make sure that the purchase you want to make is truly a smart decision or not. So it is important to continue to educate yourself on personal finance as it will play a big role in your future. If you are looking for more ways to do so, I have a few resources I recommend you check out. There are many personal finance podcasts you can listen to, and podcasts are very convenient as you can listen to them almost anywhere at any time. One podcast I really enjoy and find informational is the College Investor Audio Show. The episodes are fairly short, usually around 10 minutes, but cover a variety of beneficial topics. Additionally, I would recommend watching YouTube videos. There are hundreds of videos covering various topics, so a simple search of what you're interested in learning about can provide you with various resources. I personally really like Matt Deavela's personal finance videos. He covers his finances and his journey with his finances in a minimalistic way that is really easy to understand. Additionally, there are many general personal finance videos that cover many topics all in one. So thank you for joining me today for this introduction to personal finance.